After a year of dating, my boyfriend 31 dismisses my feelings while nitpicking my messy home. "You're not taking care of me," he says, turning the tables when I need support. "I'm tired of being the emotional translator. Maybe I'm just not the right partner for him anymore." My lord, I have attempted to type this so many times. I feel as though I am completely overreacting and acting foolishly. I 29 and my boyfriend 31 have been dating for over a year. I am genuinely frustrated and annoyed with my emotions. I have difficulty regulating them due to past abuse and mental health challenges, but communication has always been extremely important to me. I am quite straightforward, whereas he tends to bottle up his emotions and is not as proficient at expressing himself. He attributes this to his struggle with words and a desire not to upset me, yet he has no issue bringing up his own problems when I am trying to communicate with him. I am disorganized and messy even on my best days. I struggle significantly to work full-time, raise my son with minimal support, and manage the overwhelming chaos that constantly arises. I often feel worn thin but continue to try. My house does not remain spotless and my son and I do exhibit some messy habits. I did not have structure in my upbringing, so I am improvising in an attempt to provide him with the best I can, but it is challenging. This detail is relevant because my messiness is something my boyfriend fixates on and continually criticizes. It is not repulsive, but I do not mind the dirty clothes on the bathroom floor until I can get to them, and I can be a bit disheveled regarding my room. My son occasionally leaves his belongings around, which also frustrates me, but I ensure he cleans up after himself. He does assist me with cleaning. My boyfriend is the opposite and is very tidy. There are additional issues, but this is the primary one. The other significant concern is the absolute lack of communication. He remains silent until I attempt to express my feelings, at which point he introduces unrelated issues. For instance, we argued last night, which I will address later, and as I was trying to articulate my feelings, he mentioned wanting me to change because he prefers to keep his house presentable, which is reasonable. But he also claims to understand that I have a lot on my plate and cannot manage everything perfectly. He insists he does not want to make me feel bad about it, yet he constantly nitpicks and makes me feel filthy. He even says he does not want to move in together because he fears he will get angry and lose his temper with me or my son. First of all, if you know I lack the time or energy to keep my house immaculate and do not want to make me feel guilty about it, why do you continue to nitpick? Habits can improve over time and I can teach my son to do better, but I can only do so much with my current resources. Why would my messiness be sufficient to push you over the edge and make you so upset? I could manage the house better if I were not solely responsible and had more support, but I will never be as tidy as he is. Our inherent nature is simply different. Goodness, that was not even what I intended to say. That is just a significant issue we frequently bicker about. What he mentioned was that he does not feel like a family when we eat together because my son and I are typically watching television or something on my phone. He has never brought this up before. I did not grow up eating as a family, and it has been just my son and me for so long that we have always sat down to eat while watching something. I told him he could have mentioned this at any time, and he responded that he thought I would simply figure it out since we are both adults. I explained that I am not a mind reader, and again he brings up unrelated topics while I am trying to discuss something important. I cannot know something he is not explicitly communicating to me. That is not how it works, but he acts as though I should intuitively understand and modify all my habits he dislikes without any communication from him. It consistently feels excessively critical. Just tell me you want to put away screens during meals. I am fine with that, but he does not relay that, and then he becomes angry about it, only bringing it up when I am pressuring him to communicate. Ultimately, the thing that pushed me over the edge was when I told him last night that I did not feel emotionally supported by him. Some time ago, I sat him down and asked if, despite his fears and everything else, he was willing to work things out together and provide me with some reassurance regarding his desires. He essentially told me he did not know and hesitated, leaving my confidence significantly diminished since then. I contemplated my feelings for some time because I did not want to overreact. I aimed to clearly convey my emotions to him. We did not communicate for a few weeks because I tended to isolate myself with my feelings, and he does not typically reach out even when he needs me, so we were not speaking. I was not pretending that I was all right. A few days ago, I thought, okay, can we sit down and talk? I explained how I was feeling. Insecure, emotionally unstable, confused about what he truly wants. He discusses getting me pregnant, having a family, and possibly getting married someday. Yet moving in together seems too daunting for him, and my messiness is such an issue for him that he fears it might make him angry and lead to outbursts, and that I do not feel I am measuring up because he constantly critiques my flaws. These preferences are valid, but I feel stagnant. Where do we find compromise, or must I change entirely to meet your standards? He offered no reassurance at all. I felt completely disregarded. Days passed and I decided to visit, but I texted him to let him know that I was still not feeling okay. However, he did not respond to my text offering support, and when I arrived, he acted as if everything was perfectly fine because he was no longer angry and wanted to hug and kiss me. I truly dislike physical affection when I am emotionally unsettled because it does not feel authentic when I am struggling, and I prefer not to engage that way. I returned home attempting to calm myself and telling myself not to overreact. Later, I texted him, expressing my frustration and stating that I do not feel he is providing emotional support. He replied with, "What do you want me to do?" He brought up wanting me to change my messiness and commented on how I am defensive regarding my son, suggesting he cannot say anything which he can, but he tends to be rude about it, so I requested he think about how he expresses his thoughts, and I responded that this exemplifies my point. He does not listen and raises issues unrelated to the topic I am trying to discuss. He then returned to the subject of eating as a family. I reiterated that he could have mentioned that at any other time. Why do these issues always surface only when I am attempting to communicate? He does not listen. Then he said something like, "Usually I can handle your emotions, but I am going through a lot right now and you are not taking care of me. You have been making everything about yourself lately." This felt like a significant blow. His brother passed away a few years ago around this time, but my nephew died in February and my stepfather passed away in January. So yes, we are both experiencing considerable challenges at this time, but it is not solely him who is struggling. I feel as though he continuously turns the conversation back to himself or fails to address what I am saying. I do not need him to be responsible for my emotions, as I have communicated. I experience everything very intensely, and at times I need extra time because my temper is shorter than a matchstick. But I am the one managing these feelings and controlling them to avoid lashing out at those around me unfairly. By the end of it, I was simply exhausted. I did not even care if he thought I was being selfish because all I needed from him was reassurance and to be heard regarding my feelings. I do not think that is an unreasonable request. He desires a perfectly calm and peaceful life, and I told him when we first discussed this that I am unsure if I can provide that due to my struggles there is always some chaos arising, and having children certainly does not mean having quiet and peace all the time. I reiterated last night that if I am not precisely what he seeks in a partner due to my flaws, we do not have to force a relationship. However, he failed to reply either time to that statement. He responded with, "Look, I am not angry, I am just sad," and suggested that I should take some time to cool down. I am frequently annoyed, but it takes a lot for me to become truly angry because I am aware of my temper and work hard to manage it. Therefore, I declared that I am tired of feeling inadequate and being dismissed, so I will embrace being selfish and angry. I might be more petty than necessary, but it has been the same pattern numerous times of him dismissing my feelings, only mentioning issues once I am compelled to communicate, and behaving as though it is somehow my fault or making excuses by claiming he is simply a broken person. He is not unkind to us. He treats us well and takes care of us in other aspects. However, these issues are crucial to me, and it feels like he consistently dismisses them, not taking them seriously and avoiding uncomfortable emotions. I am unsure if I am being overly dramatic, and I apologize for how lengthy this is. I have attempted to express this in a polite and structured manner several times but have been unable to do so. I am extremely frustrated and it feels silly. However, I do not know how to navigate healthy relationships because I am not accustomed to them, so I am unsure what to do in this situation any longer. I have tried to communicate the same concerns, and now I feel like drawing a line between us. I am weary of repeating myself endlessly and being disregarded. In summary, my boyfriend, 29, and I, 31, have been dating for over a year. Each time I attempt to communicate my feelings, he dismisses them. He only brings up his own concerns when I pressure him for communication. This pattern is growing tiresome, and I am uncertain about what my next steps should be. Story 2. Struggling to share my feelings with my boyfriend left me questioning, does he even care? After sharing personal issues, I felt ignored when he didn't follow up. Now I'm torn between love and the fear he won't ever understand my need for emotional intimacy. Can this bridge be crossed? Hello, everyone's. I wanted to express some feelings I have been experiencing for quite some time now. I am a 28-year-old female, and my boyfriend is a 28-year-old male. Nationality: Indians. I am in a relationship with a wonderful man. I have been living with him for over a year, and we are quite compatible. As an individual, I genuinely like him very much. In terms of my personality, I tend to be reserved. I generally prefer not to talk much about myself and consider myself more of a good listener. I believe I have always found it challenging to share my true feelings with anyone in this world. This is something a few of my closest friends have pointed out, and they believe I need to work on it. It's not that I lack trustworthy individuals around me, it's simply a matter of my personality. The most I have shared is with my very close friends whom I confide in. They mention that it is a struggle to get me to discuss my feelings, and I agree. Sometimes, I even feel it is overwhelming to keep everything that is happening in my life to myself. Based on my friend's feedback, I began making an effort to be more open about my thoughts and experiences. Since I have been living with my partner, I have tried to share a few things with him, but it took a considerable amount of effort to reach that starting point. On some occasions, I felt that he did not care enough to listen, and since it required so much from me to initiate that conversation, I sometimes feel he does not genuinely care about me or what is happening in my life. Had I shared the same information with my friends, they would have been very eager to hear about it, considering it comes from me. Although we are highly compatible and I truly love him, it concerns me that I cannot easily talk to him about my issues. This is a significant deal breaker for me since I expect this level of openness in very close friendships. Thus, it is also an important quality I seek in my partner. I should be able to share my thoughts easily with him. Perhaps this expectation is too high, or perhaps it is merely the bare minimum that I expect from someone I care about deeply. To provide additional context, I will share specific instances where I felt he did not care. A couple of months ago, I was experiencing work-related issues within my team, and I briefly mentioned it to him in a message since I was at home. He said we would discuss it later that evening. That night we did converse, but he did not ask about this topic. Perhaps he forgot, as I personally believe he is somewhat forgetful, but it still hurts and makes me feel as though he did not care enough to revisit the subject. I am not someone who forces conversations. I will only discuss something if I sense genuine interest. If I perceive a lack of interest, I will simply let it go. A couple of months later, I happened to share a few things with him in person that were quite difficult to disclose. I had not planned to share any of it, but we happened to be talking and I opened up. This conversation was in person. Although this was not solely about my personal issues, it concerned a mutual friend and other related matters. I felt a sense of pride that day because I was able to have a meaningful conversation with him. It was also the first time I cried in front of him, and it was liberating since I typically do not cry in front of anyone. All of this made me feel emotionally closer to him, which is important for me in a relationship. He listened to me completely, and I finally felt as though I could share my thoughts. Let me clarify that he is not a bad listener. He does listen, but at times, it seems he does not enjoy talking as much. With my friends, we engage in extensive conversations about everything and anything. Perhaps I am expecting the same level of communication from my partner, which may be unrealistic. Another instance where I felt he did not care occurred regarding our flat. I had an argument with the owner about necessary repairs in the flat we recently moved into, and after a lengthy discussion with the owner, I wanted to share my frustrations with my partner. It was late at night, and he indicated he wanted to sleep and that we could talk about it the next day. He expressed regret for not being able to listen to me at that moment. I was initially hurt but accepted it. However, what truly upset me was that the following day, and even the day after, he did not bother to ask about the situation. Consequently, I felt uncomfortable sharing it again with him, fearing I would be imposing my concerns. I do not complain much, but occasionally I might express my feelings of frustration. The reason I wanted to share this with him was that we both live in the flat, and if there is an issue, it affects both of us. It is not simply a personal matter. After he did not inquire about my work issues, I became hesitant to share my personal concerns, yet I thought I could still discuss shared issues. Perhaps he does care but is forgetful, or perhaps he genuinely does not care. If it is the latter, I need to reevaluate our relationship because emotional intimacy is crucial to me. The less I share with him, the less I will feel connected to him. I desire a relationship that includes friendship as a significant component. I am not solely interested in romantic gestures. From my perspective, I truly like him and care for him. I want him to feel comfortable discussing his problems, and I am genuinely interested in learning more about him. Due to these particular experiences, I question whether he is sincerely curious about me. Similarly, I had another intense conversation with the owner. By intense, I mean it was a formal, detailed discussion that took a lot of energy from me. 4 days later, I finally mentioned this conversation to my partner because I felt it was important to share, although it took a significant effort for me given that he had previously declined to listen. I am concerned that if I am not comfortable discussing shared problems with him, it will be even more difficult for me to address my personal problems, which pertain solely to me. This is what troubles me. I still love him and want to continue our relationship and work on these issues, but only if he genuinely cares about me. I do not want to be a pushover. I do not want to share my concerns if he is uninterested in having those conversations. I also think he may not be aware of how I feel in these situations, and he deserves to know my perspective. I have been continually reevaluating our relationship. Recently, I have also realized that men in general, not all men of course, do not tend to engage in deep conversations, even with their friends. While they may gossip, meet up, play sports, watch shows, go on holidays, etc., I feel like they speak very little or rarely discuss their emotions. They may have become so accustomed to this behavior that it has become second nature to them. If they have been doing this for so long, how would they even recognize our feelings or understand the importance of discussing things, unless we explicitly communicate our needs and make an effort to help them learn? So I believe it is not entirely their fault. It is likely a result of how society conditions them. Men, please correct me if I am mistaken. Before reevaluating our relationship, I need to make an effort to communicate my feelings to him, even though it is an incredibly challenging task for me. He deserves to know everything I understand. Perhaps he does care a great deal, but because of societal conditioning, he struggles to understand some emotions. I have expressed my thoughts, and there is no obligation for anyone to read the entire post. I know I have written quite a lot. If anyone has managed to read through to the end, I appreciate it, and if you have any helpful comments, please feel free to share them. Please let me know the best way to resolve this. Thank you. In summary, my boyfriend and I are experiencing communication issues that make it challenging for me to share things with him, leading me to feel as if he does not care about me. I genuinely want to resolve this matter.